the former Chief Executive of Energy UK, Angela Knight, joins me now. And Angela, welcome to the Independent Republic of Mike Graham. I've got to say, I mean, I'm not easily shocked, but even I'm shocked by the jump in profits here. Absolutely incredible. But these are people who say they weren't able to sell gas at the same price as they used to sell it because, you know, wholesale figures had jumped so much that they'd have to pay more for it. How have they made so much money?
It's a complicated story. It always is, I'm afraid. So sorry about that. The reality is that a number of the energy suppliers just went bust. They hadn't bought forward, as it's called, so they were in a situation in which they guaranteed to pay you, me, or whoever were their customers a certain price, but what they got to buy that gas or electricity on the wholesale market was much higher. They went bust. Somebody had to pick up the pieces, otherwise their customers would not have had their energy. One of the ones that picked up the pieces was British Gas, and it picked them up and it took the loss, and it was allowed them to lift the prices under the cap in order that that loss could be recouped. So much of this is all about that sort of very strange period that we had. Looking ahead, they estimate that the sort of profit that they'll be making, and it'll still be a big number, sort of profit they're making will be about 240 million a year. But they've got 7.5 million customers. And 7.5 million customers, and you divide that into the profit they're making, is not a lot for a company who's as big as that and the number of people they employ and the amount of investment they have to make.
Well, I guess that depends on what they end up doing with the profit. But, I mean, if they were making a loss, when were they making a loss and where does that show up? Because if they were making somewhere between 75 and 94 million pounds in profits last year, that's still a profit.
It is still a profit. And thank goodness they do make a profit, because if they didn't make a profit, we wouldn't have British Gas. They would go bust like the others who haven't made a profit. There is a real question, and I think it's behind the point that you're making, is how much profit should a company make? Now, if we look at, just stick with British Gas for a moment, and let's assume that 750 million is there, divide that by 7.5 million customers, it's about £2 a week profit per customer. But of course, you've got the small customers, you've got the big customers. Averages don't tell the whole story. What does tell the whole story is if you actually look at your bill, where you find from your bill, the smallest piece of your bill is actually profit. About a half is wholesale costs. And then what takes up the other, whatever it is, nearly 48%. It's nearly the rest of it is, yeah, you've got VAT in there, but you've got those things that get added on the bill. The policy costs for what we refer to as green energy, not quite the right phrase, but it sits on the bill. And all those network costs of getting the gas and electricity to you are not owned by the energy supplier. They're independent. They're different companies. That's an extraordinarily expensive thing. So actually, what I think we should be doing is not blaming a company for making a profit. Thank goodness they do make a profit. Then they employ the people, they do the investment, we get the services that they want. What we should be concerned about is, first of all, should there be this standing charge, which is really significant, that sits on our gas and electricity bills regardless? And I would say no, and certainly not for the poorer in society. And second, should there be a social tariff? That is, those, again, who are in receipt of benefits or definitely sit at the less affluent end of the spectrum, shouldn't there not be a special tariff for them, which is less than for everybody else?
No.
And so rather than complain about
I don't think they should.
Making
No, I don't think they should. I think no, but the point is, Angela, that people know that the standing charge continues to go up. Nobody knows where that money goes. I assume it goes to British Gas or whoever's charging it. You know, at the end of the day, people need to see that the company that they're getting their energy from are not creaming off the top. And I mean, even Chris O'Shea, the chief exec, has admitted on television before that he can't justify his salary. So there's going to be loads of places where you could make savings, because the ordinary people of this country, I think, deserve to be told the truth. And I agree with you. I know there's lots of things that are built into the bill which the government insists on, and that's wrong. But
And the
what we
point
need,
is,
though, but what we need, if we're not going to be sitting
point
here
is
and being, hang on, we're not going
and
to be
I'm
told.
trying to tell you the truth.
Yeah, well, I know you are, but I'm
trying
also
to
trying to tell you what I think as well. What British people
Yeah, but
need
the
is
reality-
a company, hang on, which actually serves them and doesn't rinse them every time the wholesale price goes up.
And they don't, because the reality of all the major energy companies is they buy their gas and electricity for some considerable period ahead. What that does is give a stable price. The reason why a number of the smaller companies, what was it, about 30 went bust, was because they didn't do that. They thought they could always buy on today or next week or next month's price, and it would be cheaper. Excuse me, coughing, I've got a cold. It would be cheaper, and it's not. And I think that there is something here which you rightly point out, and that is it all in the interest of the customer? And the answer is no, it's not necessarily all in the interest of the customer. I want British Gas to operate and run efficiently and well. I want them to serve me and all the other people that they're serving. I want them to do that at a cost-effective price. I want them to have a good, strong workforce, and I want them to invest. And there are a number of years where what they have to invest goes really down because of the way that this very cyclical industry, what happens to it is hit by what happens globally. And there's days and weeks and months and years when that goes up. We don't care when their profit goes down. We don't care if they make a loss. When they make a profit, we want to say, oh, forget about the loss. We don't want you to make much of that profit either. I think that there is something about the energy industry which is very dear to our heart. We see it quite rightly as a service to which we are entitled and which we're prepared to pay a reasonable amount. I do think that in a number of occasions, the customer's been fleeced. And right now, I think they are being fleeced.
They are.
But not by the company. By the way,
I think the bottom line is, Andrew, I've got to run. Sorry, I'm going to let you go and have some honey and lemon, which is what I recommend to get rid of that nasty cough. Don't worry, no, off you go. Go and enjoy the rest of the evening. I'm going to say thank you to you.